Hello, this is Wales speaking. Welcome to my channel. Before we begin, I want you to listen carefully. This isn't just another story. It's something that stayed with me, something I could never forget. A story of love, silence, and mystery. A story about one glance that changed everything. This story is called She Kissed Me. So sit back, watch my Minecraft video, and listen carefully, because this is where it all began. I still remember that evening. The wind was cold, the streets almost empty, and I was lost in my own thoughts. Life felt dull, like every day was just a copy of the one before. And then, out of nowhere, I saw her. Mira. She wasn't doing anything special, just standing near the bookstore, brushing her hair back as the wind played with it. But something about her made the whole world go silent. For the first time in months, my heart forgot how to stay calm. I don't know why I couldn't look away. Maybe it was her eyes, deep, unreadable, like they were holding 1,000 secrets, or maybe it was the way she smiled at nothing, as if she was remembering something I'd never know. I wanted to walk away, but curiosity chained my steps. For the next few days, I saw her again and again, at the cafe near my college, by the bridge where I always stopped to think it felt like the universe was trying to say something, like she was meant to cross my path. Kabir noticed it first. He laughed when he saw the way I looked at her. "Careful, bro," he said. "Some people look like peace until they set your whole life on fire." I laughed it off, but his words stayed with me. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face, soft, calm, but strange in a way I couldn't explain. It was like she carried both light and danger in the same heartbeat. And for some reason, I wanted to know which one would reach me first. That's how it began, with just one glance and a feeling I couldn't forget. It had been a week since I first saw Mira. I didn't even know her last name, but somehow she had already become part of my thoughts, the kind that follow you around when you least expect it. I told myself it was nothing, just a passing curiosity. But deep down, I knew it wasn't. Something about her felt like a clue I had to solve. That morning, I went to the cafe where I'd seen her before. It was almost empty, just the smell of coffee and the quiet sound of pages turning. I sat in my usual corner, pretending to scroll through my phone, but really, I was waiting. And then, as if the universe was listening, she walked in. Mira looked different that day. No smile, no expression, just calm eyes that seemed to look through everything. She ordered her drink, glanced at me for a second, and then left a folded piece of paper on my table before walking out. No words, no explanation, just that. For a moment, I didn't even move. My hands were cold, my heart louder than the sound of rain outside. I opened the note slowly. It said only one line: "You'll understand when it rains again." That was it. No name, no signature, just that sentence written in neat, soft handwriting. I didn't know what it meant. But that night, it started raining. I ran to the same street where I'd first seen her. The bookstore lights were off, the road empty, but I felt like she was somewhere close, watching, waiting. My phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number appeared. "Don't try to find me tonight." My breath froze. How did she even get my number? Was it a coincidence, or was this something more? I didn't reply. I just stood there, under the rain, with that note in my hand and 1,000 questions in my head. And that's when I realized this wasn't just a story about meeting someone. It was the beginning of something much deeper, something I wasn't ready for. Days passed after that strange night. I didn't see Mira anywhere. Not at the cafe, not at the bookstore, not even on the street where it all began. But the note kept replaying in my mind. You'll understand when it rains again. I didn't know if it was a warning or a promise. Then one evening, when the clouds gathered again, I saw her. Same place, same bookstore, like she'd never been gone. She was standing there with that quiet expression, holding a book she clearly wasn't reading. I walked toward her, unsure of what to say. My heart was doing the kind of talking my voice couldn't. Before I could speak, she looked at me and said softly, "I thought you'd stop looking." Her tone wasn't cold, but it wasn't warm either. It felt like she was used to disappearing, like it was something she'd done before. I asked her about the message. She didn't deny it. She just said, "I didn't want you to follow me that night." When I asked why, she hesitated. Her eyes flickered. Fear, regret, something else I couldn't name. Finally, she said, "Because I wasn't supposed to see you again." We sat on a bench nearby. The rain began, just like before. She told me fragments of her life, about moving from place to place, about losing people she never talked about how she hated goodbyes because they never stayed as good as the words sounded. Every sentence felt like she was trying to protect herself from being understood. Then she looked at me and said, "Arav, you don't even know me. You just like the version of me your heart created." I wanted to deny it, but I couldn't. Maybe she was right. Maybe I didn't know her. But that didn't stop me from wanting to. For a moment, we just sat there, the sound of rain filling the silence between us. Her hand brushed against mine, unintentionally, or maybe on purpose. It felt electric, like the world paused for one heartbeat. Before leaving, she said, "If we meet again, I'll tell you the truth." Then she walked away, fading into the rain like a secret that didn't want to be found. That night, I realized something. She wasn't running away from me. She was running from something else, something that was still coming. It had been 3 days since Mira said those words. "If we meet again, I'll tell you the truth." 3 days of silence. 3 days of restless thoughts that refused to quiet down. Every place I went felt empty without her, like the world had forgotten its color. Then came that night. The sky was dark, the clouds heavy, and the city felt quieter than usual. The power went out around 9 p.m., and all that remained was the sound of rain hitting the windows. I was sitting by the window, lost in the same loop of thoughts, when my phone buzzed. A message. Unknown number again. "Come outside." My heart skipped. No name, no details, just those 2 words. I didn't even think. I grabbed my jacket and stepped into the rain. The street was empty, the lights dim from the storm, and the wind carried that familiar smell of wet earth and mystery. And then, she was there, standing near the old park gate, soaked, her hair sticking to her face, her eyes glowing under the dim light mirror. She smiled faintly. "You came." I wanted to say 1,000 things, how she'd vanished, how her silence drove me crazy, but no words came out. I just looked at her, and she looked back like she'd been waiting for this moment, too. We sat on the same bench as before. The world around us blurred, just rain, wind, and 2 people trying to say everything without speaking. She told me she didn't plan to come back, but something made her. I asked her why she ran, what she was hiding. For a long time, she said nothing. Then softly, she whispered, "Sometimes the truth is heavier than a lie." Lightning flashed behind her, and for a second, I saw something in her eyes. Fear. Not of me, but of something else, something I couldn't see. The rain kept falling harder. We moved under the shade of the old tree nearby. She was shivering, so I took off my jacket and placed it over her shoulders. She looked up at me, her lips trembling, not from the cold, but from something she wanted to say. Then silence. Her hand touched mine. Slow, unsure, but real. Our eyes met, and for that 1 second, everything felt right. The storm, the darkness, the confusion, all of it disappeared. We didn't kiss. Not yet. But the space between us was too thin for words. It felt like the world was waiting, holding its breath. And just before leaving, she said quietly, "Next time, don't ask about the past." Then she walked away, leaving her jacket behind, and me, standing there, soaked, trying to understand a story that was only getting deeper. The next morning, everything felt heavier. The rain had stopped, but the silence it left behind wasn't normal. It felt like the world had paused, waiting for something to go wrong. I kept thinking about her words. Next time, don't ask about the past. Why would she say that? What was she hiding? Kabir noticed it first. We were sitting on the college steps, and he said, "You haven't been yourself lately, Arav. You're chasing something that doesn't want to be caught." I tried to ignore him, but he didn't stop there. He looked straight at me and said, "You need to know who she really is." That's when my heartbeat stumbled. Kabir knew something. I could see it in his eyes. When I asked what he meant, he hesitated, then sighed. Mira wasn't new here. She used to live in this city 2 years ago. There was something that happened. I waited for him to continue. He said, "Her brother studied with us. He died, and after that, she disappeared." The world around me blurred. I didn't know what to say. Mira never mentioned a brother, never even hinted at a past like that. My chest felt tight, and for the first time, I didn't know if I wanted to know more. That night, I went to the cafe again. She wasn't there, but the waitress handed me an envelope. "A girl told me to give you this," she said. I opened it. Inside was a single photo. Mira and a boy standing near the old bridge. On the back, a date, 2 years ago, and under it, 3 words written in her handwriting. "He never left." I didn't sleep that night. My head kept spinning around that photo, that line. What did she mean? Was she talking about her brother or someone else? The next day, Kabir stopped me again. "Arav," he said quietly, "if you see her again, promise me something. Don't go anywhere alone with her." I stared at him, half angry, half confused. "Why are you saying this?" He looked away and whispered, "Because I was there, the night her brother died." My world cracked open in silence, and for the first time, I realized Mira's mystery wasn't just about love or pain. It was about something far darker, something I wasn't ready to uncover. I couldn't stop thinking about what Kabir said. I was there the night her brother died. The words repeated in my mind like an echo that refused to fade. Every time I tried to call Mira, her number didn't exist anymore. Every place we met, empty. It was like she'd vanished again, taking all her secrets with her. 3 days later, it rained, and somehow I knew I'd see her again. That night, I went back to the park. The same bench, the same sound of rain, the same cold silence. I waited, not sure what I was hoping for. Then I saw her, standing near the tree, wearing the jacket I'd given her. Her face looked pale, her eyes tired, but her presence still pulled me in like gravity. She didn't speak. She just walked toward me, slow and steady, as if each step carried 1,000 memories. I wanted to ask her everything. About her brother, about Kabir, about why she kept running. But when I opened my mouth, she placed her finger on my lips and whispered, "Not tonight." Her voice trembled. "You keep searching for truth, Arav, but truth doesn't heal. It destroys." I didn't understand, and before I could reply, she stepped closer. The rain grew heavier, wrapping us in a blur of sound and silence. I could feel her heartbeat, uneven, afraid, alive. And then She kissed me. It wasn't the kind of kiss that feels like a beginning. It felt like an ending. Her lips were cold, her hands shaking, but the moment felt endless. The world around us disappeared. No rain, no thunder, just two souls trying to hold on to something that was already slipping away. When she pulled away, there were tears in her eyes. She looked at me for a long time, then said softly, "I shouldn't have come back." I tried to stop her, but she stepped back, shaking her head. "You'll understand soon," she said, voice breaking, "and when you do, please forgive me." Then she turned and walked away, disappearing into the rain just like before. I stood there, frozen. My chest hurt, my hands trembled, and her taste lingered, sweet and sad, like a memory that refused to fade. I didn't know what that kiss meant. Love, goodbye, or guilt. But one thing was clear. Whatever Mira was hiding, that kiss had unlocked it. And now, there was no turning back. The next morning, everything felt wrong. The sky was clear, but the air was heavy, and the silence around me didn't sound normal. I went to the park again, the same place where Mira had kissed me, but she wasn't there. The ground still carried the smell of last night's rain, the bench still wet, the jacket she wore gone. I called her number again and again. "This number does not exist." Those words hit harder each time. It felt like the world had erased her overnight. I went to her apartment, the one she said she was renting near the cafe. The door was unlocked. Inside, the room was empty. No clothes, no books, no signs that anyone had ever lived there. Just a single photo lying on the floor, Mira standing beside Kabir. My heart stopped. Why hadn't Kabir ever mentioned this? I called him immediately. He didn't answer. I ran to his house, but his phone kept ringing in the other room. He wasn't there either. For a moment, I thought maybe they both left together. Maybe I was the one being left behind. But then I found something on Kabir's desk. A small envelope with my name written on it. Inside was a note. "She's not gone, Arav. She was never really here." The words made no sense, but my hands wouldn't stop shaking. I went back to the bridge from the photo, the one where Mira and her brother stood 2 years ago. The river below was calm, too calm, and the air was colder than before. As I stood there, I saw something carved on the old railing. A name. Mira. Below it, another line. "I'll always come back when it rains." For a second, I forgot how to breathe. That's when my phone buzzed again. No number, no name, just a voice message. It was Mira's voice, soft, distant, like she was speaking from another world. She said, "You were never supposed to see that night, but I couldn't let you go without saying goodbye. Kabir knows. Don't look for me again." The message ended. I played it again, hoping it would change, hoping she'd say more. But it didn't. And in that moment, I realized she wasn't missing. She had vanished in a way that couldn't be explained by reason or time. Somewhere deep down, I already knew this wasn't the end of her story. It was the beginning of the truth I had been running from all along. For 3 nights, I didn't sleep. Every sound, every shadow felt like it carried her voice. Kabir still hadn't come back. His phone was switched off, his house locked. It was like both of them had vanished into thin air, leaving only questions behind. On the 4th night, I went back to the bridge, the place where it had all started, and where every answer seemed to wait in silence. The air was cold, the sky pale with fog, and the sound of water echoed like a heartbeat. I stood there, staring at the carving on the railing. "I'll always come back when it rains." Then I heard footsteps. Slow, careful, familiar. It was Kabir. He looked different, tired, pale, eyes red like he hadn't slept in days. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then he said quietly, You weren't supposed to get this close, Arav. I asked him where Mira was. He didn't answer right away. He just walked to the edge of the bridge, looking down at the water. You remember her brother? He asked. I nodded. That night, 2 years ago, she wasn't the only one who disappeared. She jumped into this river with him. They never found her body. My breath froze. I couldn't move. That's not possible, I whispered. I met her. I talked to her. She kissed me. Kabir turned toward me, eyes filled with something between sorrow and fear. I know, he said. That's why I told you not to go near her. You think you're the first person she came back to? I didn't believe him. I refused to. But then he handed me something. A small silver pendant. I recognized it instantly. It was the one Mira wore the night she kissed me. My legs gave out. My mind went blank. I could still feel her warmth, her voice, her touch. It couldn't be real. But it was. Everything suddenly made sense. Her cold hands, her sudden disappearances, her words about truth being heavier than lies. Kabir said softly, She never left, Arav. She's just caught between two worlds, and every time it rains, she finds her way back. A drop of rain fell on my hand, then another, then thousands. The sky broke open again. The wind howled, and through the blur of rain, I saw her, across the bridge, standing in the same spot as before. Mira. She looked just like the first day, quiet, beautiful, unreachable. She smiled faintly and whispered something I couldn't hear, but I could read her lips. Goodbye. And just like that, she faded into the mist, gone, like she was never there. Kabir placed his hand on my shoulder. Now you understand, he said. I looked at the empty space where she'd been and whispered, Yeah, I do. The truth wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't romantic. It wasn't fair. It was haunting. She kissed me, not to begin something, but to let it end. So sit and watch my Minecraft video and listen, because sometimes a love doesn't stay. It lingers, like rain, like a memory, like her. And even when it's gone, it never really leaves.